Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bible Explained. This is the show where I go through every single chapter of the Bible in a deeper, more meaningful connotation, analyzing the words, the sentences, and everything using my degree that I earned so that it doesn't languish and it becomes useless, collecting dust. Today we are on Genesis 23, which is going to be the death of Sarah, and it's very, very important that you understand the connotations and the type of man Abraham was before reading this one. But all the same, whether you came here in search or it was recommended to you or you're doing something with college, hopefully this helps. Now, this is an extremely short chapter, but it is meaningful, impactful, and important. So let's just delve right in. We're going to begin with the New International Version, but as I say all the time, you can use any version you want, King James. You can look it up online. The Bible Gateway is a fantastic website to use just due to the simple fact that you can look up multiple versions and verses and everything. It's a very good resource, and it's free, so I highly recommend. Anyways, we're going to start with the first verse. Sarah lived to be 127 years old. So that's pretty old. It's interesting and it's unique because prior to the flood, Noah's Ark, things like that, we had people living to be like 800-900 years old, things of that nature. It was pretty wild. Now we have 127 years old. Even by today's standards, our standards in the 2000s, 127 years old would be like a world record. I believe the oldest person is somewhere up in the 115s currently. That is verifiable. So it's pretty wild to see somebody living to 127 in the current world's timeline. Verse 2, she died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep over her. Abraham really loved Sarah, and it shows, and it's important that we put this connotation in there because there are plenty of times in the Bible where people will die and other people are not mourning their loss, and it's skimmed over. Like it's important to know that they're dead, but it does not disclose who or why or what really loved them and appreciated them. In this case, very obviously, Abraham loved Sarah, so we're getting some obvious connotations, but do note that he did go to mourn her. Verse 3, then Abraham rose from beside his dead wife and spoke to the Hittites. He said, I am a foreigner, a stranger among you. Sell me some property for a burial site so that I can bury my dead. And again, it's important that we're getting these connotations in like a normal book, in a normal story, or a more generalized, rather, not normal, a more general setting. If you were writing, you would say, Abraham rose from his dead wife and spoke to the locals about purchasing land to bury his wife. Here it is very, very specifically stating that he is a foreigner, a stranger. It's putting this connotation in there because he is accepting what he is and paying his dues and respect to gain a little mercy from those who are of the land and will permit him to bury his dead wife. The Hittites replied to Abraham, Sir, listen to us. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse you his tomb for burying your dead. And so we're understanding how these people in the foreign land would treat a foreigner. All of a sudden, it's not just a story about a guy's wife dying. It is important to note that they do indeed respect death and the rituals around death. And of course, this was probably more centered and fueled by the fact that it was his somebody very important to him. Honestly, maybe they knew it was his wife. Maybe they knew it was somebody very close to him. But they do know that it's dead, and they respect that a lot. Then Abraham rose and bowed down before the people of the land, the Hittites. He said to them, If you are willing to let me bury my dead, then listen to me, and intercede with Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf. So he will sell me the cave of Machpelah. Apologies, it's very difficult for me to pronounce things. Which belongs to him and is at the end of the field. Ask him to sell it to me for the full price as a burial site among you. So he's asking the locals there, please go to this guy, have him sell me this cave. It's pretty self-evident here. Not sure why he wants the cave specifically, but it is very important to understand that, again, this could be shortened greatly. Why are we getting this information? You need to constantly be asking why. Why is it important for me to know this stuff? Why? Who is Ephron, son of Zohar? Who cares about this, right? So it's important. Why are we seeing this? You know, there's thousands of people in these stories. Why is this specific person being referenced? Ephron the Hittite was sitting among his people, and he replied to Abraham, in hearing all of the Hittites who came to the gate of his city. No, my lord, he said, listen to me. I give you the field. I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you. In the presence of my people, bury your dead. So this man perhaps he is the king, perhaps he is the leader, perhaps he rules the country itself, in fact, and he does not charge Abraham, but instead is offering it. Again, we are understanding the Hittites here, and we are getting connotations, understanding. We are learning more about their philosophical beliefs, and they are very reverent to the dead. Verse 12, again, Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in their hearing, listen to me, if you will. I will pay the price of the field. Accept it from me so I can bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, listen to me, my lord. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that between you and me? Bury your dead. So he's saying that this is Abraham trying to respect the principles and the ideas that those who own land, those who have and take ownership of things, he wants to respect those rituals, even though it is somebody dead and burial. And the person who owns it is trying to do something nice, polite, and respect the dead. Abraham has experienced a loss, and he does not want to compound that loss and stack that issue by saying, hey, I need money to bury the dead, which honestly would be a really nice practice that it existed today, if it did in fact exist today in many locations. But the dead currently is a fantastic business that makes tons of money. And so I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. But again, it's being referenced here. It's very important to note here. Verse 16, Abraham agreed with Ephron's terms, weighed out for him the price naming, and in hearing the Hittites 400 shekels of silver, according to the weight current among the merchants. This is just explaining how he paid, what he paid, the amount of money, what they used back in that time period. And finally, we are on verse 17. So Ephron's field near Mamre, both the field and the cave in it, and all the trees within the borders of the field, was deeded to Abraham and his property in the presence of the Hittites who had come to the gate of the city. Afterward, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave in the field near Mamre, which is, again, at Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And so the field and the cave in it were deeded to Abraham by the Hittites as a burial site. So this whole verse is very important because it explains the respect for the dead, the reverence for the dead, and people in great power and positions. This person, Ephron, could have absolutely said, no, I will not sell it to you. It is my land. You have no right. You have no claim to it. Or he could have overcharged him, or he could have refused, and he could have killed Abraham for something. Maybe he felt like he was being disrespectful, insolent, slighted, right? So it's very important to take note of this stuff and take stock of this stuff when we're dealing with this. This is just a long explanation of how they respect the dead and the important reverence of life. And and though it isn't the longest verse in Bible chapter, it's very, very important to understand and know these connotations. So hopefully the next one will be a little bit longer, filled with something a little bit more interesting other than death. I hope you guys had a fantastic week. Remember, Christ is King. You could achieve salvation today. All you have to do is accept Christ, and hopefully you will return renewed and happy. Remember to just share my work. I don't make any money from this. I don't want to make any money. This is just my give back to the community, to God, and using my master degree in some type of servitude so that it doesn't languish. And again, please leave your comments in the section below, and I will try to address them in a timely manner. Thank you for taking the time out to watch this Bible study.